Welcome to the next installment in my video lecture series in economics. And in this particular video lecture, I'm going to be taking a look at the income effect, in particular taking a look at how the structure of a welfare payment or a social services payment can impact an individual's budget constraint. And this is for my public finance course and has to deal with the section on the framework for analysis of public expenditures. So let's say this is what we're looking at. We have a budget constraint. The two goods that we're concerned with is groceries consumed and all other goods consumed. And the budget constraint just maps out all the combinations of those two goods categories that are possible to purchase with the level of income and the prices of the two commodity groups that we're talking about. So the budget constraint represents all the combinations of other goods consumed and groceries consumed that this particular individual can actually afford to purchase. Doesn't mean all of them are going to be purchased. These are just what the person can afford to buy. So now let's say that the government gives out a $100 a month food subsidy to this individual. We want to take a look at how this food subsidy is going to impact the budget constraint. So usually what I like to do in these scenarios is just looking at the two extreme ends, point A and point F, and see what happens. So if the person's at point A before they get the subsidy, they spent all of their income on groceries, all on food. If the government gives them an additional $100 that can only be spent on food, that means they can purchase $100 worth of food that particular month. So point A shifts over to point B, reflecting the fact that now they get an additional $100 a month of a food subsidy that has to be spent on groceries. So at that extreme end, point A, they've already spent all of their income on groceries. The government gives them a subsidy that can only be used to purchase food. So that causes point A to shift to point B, and the difference between point A and point B is the $100 a month. Let's take a look at point F. Is that going to cause point F to shift upward? No, it's not going to cause it to shift upward because the $100 a month food subsidy cannot be used to consume other goods. So F does not shift upward, but F shifts to the right. Because if we think of the scenario where this individual spent all of their money for the month on other goods and bought no groceries whatsoever, the $100 subsidy allows them to buy the level of F here, all of the other goods that they use their entire income to purchase all those other goods. And it again causes it to shift to the right by $100. So it shifts from point it shifts from point F to point G. So what does that make the budget constraint look like? It makes the budget constraint look like this lighter shaded blue color. All right. So realize that if the government gives you a subsidy on a particular item, basically what you end up having is a parallel shifting of the budget constraint. It has the same slope as the original budget constraint. And then you can think of the point here of the axis that is not getting the subsidy. It's just moving that point, in this example, $100 over. So now we end up with what is called a kink in the demand curve at this particular point here. So make sure you're comfortable with that because we're going to be looking at different subsidy methods and how efficient they are. And the main thing to understand is how that subsidy impacts the budget constraint. So make sure you're comfortable with why this new budget constraint looks like this when the subsidy is only for one of the products.